Hello and welcome to the last video in the free rent-to-own video series. And in this video, you're about to discover how to make big money with rent-to-own even in declining markets. This means cash up front, outstanding monthly cash flow, and checks at closing. I'm Jon Simcoe, Canada's #1 rent-to-own real estate coach. On this video, you're about to discover cutting-edge strategies for creating 5 times, 8 times, even 10 times the average cash flow of traditional buy and hold properties, and how to get into the rent-to-own real estate investing with no money down. And I mean not only using that of a joint venture partner, but I mean not having to use any of other people's money whatsoever. How to virtually eliminate tenant and toilet headaches forever, and how to succeed with rent-to-own even in a declining market. The traditional way has low cash flow versus the rent-to-own way, which has phenomenal cash flow. In the traditional way, you're dealing with 3 a.m. plug toilet calls. Here we're going to eliminate tenant and toilet headaches. In the traditional way, you're often waiting 7, 10, even 15 years just to recoup your initial investment. With rent-to-own, it is really quick, 2-3 years. You can double money very, very fast. The traditional way, there's no clear exit strategy. It really does require timing the market. If you're going to buy low, sell high, you need to be doing it at the right moments, and it might not always be how you want it. With rent to own, there's defined exit strategies. We know these deals are closing. Normally, you're going to need 20 to even 35% down. A lot of the banks for me are asking for 25% down when I go to buy a buy and hold. Whereas in the rent-to-own way, I absolutely love it because there's almost no risk and there can even be no money down. And with no money down, that means you can really do as many of these as you have time to do. And with a good system, you can set up these very easily. So I wanted to share with you guys one of these deals, and this was one of my very first rent-to-own deals. This is one where we collected $7,000 up front, made $1,400 a month cash flow. There was an extra $44,000 at the end of the deal. The money partners were paid well, but it was at the end. Now, there's some other profit centers in here, but I just want you guys to know that this is what really got me excited about rent-to-own. After I set the first one up and made just over $100,000, I knew that I would have a way to be able to replace my job if I just kept doing more rent-to-own deals. This is an example of a deal that's a little bit higher end for a house for what most would be, but it is totally possible to make this kind of money. So the opportunity is now. And if you have to ask yourself why you're waiting, these are the reasons I normally hear people say. It's because they procrastinate. Technology has made it easier than ever before. This is a ground floor opportunity because there is just not very much good competition. Most people are doing rent-own the wrong way, or they're not very competent at it. You can start living life on your own terms, if not now, when? And it's made by Canadians for Canadians. So a little bit about me at the very beginning. That's me breaking some bricks, and that was my first business. It was a Taekwondo club, and I learned a lot of the skills about integrity, perseverance, self-control, and having an indomitable spirit. And so that's always helped me out along the way, as well as I studied a lot of courses and books at the very beginning, trying to figure out how I was going to make my riches in real estate. I eventually did go buy my first house. It was a Winnipeg house, and it was one that we fixed up and rented out for a few years. It wasn't a rent-to-own to start with, but it was enough for me to realize that I needed to learn more about real estate, to have more options. If I was going to be getting more and more places, I just needed to be more knowledgeable. So what I did is I went out to Fort McMurray so that I could get a high-paying oil job so that I could buy more properties. That was my thinking at the time. And so that was about 12 years ago that I left Winnipeg and went to Fort McMurray. Now, I am the president and CEO of Lion Properties Limited. I'm also the president of the Canadian Association of Rent-to-Own Professionals. And I wasn't always the president. I'm currently serving out my last term. And in October of 2018, somebody else will get voted in. Before that, I did 4 years as a director, just volunteering. This is an association that stands for the ethical practice of rent-to-own. And that just really means setting up deals where the buyer can actually buy, and making sure that things are set up so that they have a fair chance to be able to get the home, not just setting up these deals to be able to keep these deposits. I'm also a national speaker. If you guys seen me on my YouTube channel or anywhere else, it's Jon Simcoe on YouTube. But you'll also see that I'm a national speaker. I've been to all different cities all over Canada speaking about rent to own, and I'm also a best-selling author on Amazon. I did 93 deals in 2016, and that was because I had a big breakthrough in that year. And a lot of people have been calling me the rent-to-own king, and I've trained thousands of real estate investors. Hundreds of them have taken the rent-to-own course. I've been involved in real estate investing for over 12 years, and I've raised over $30 million in private capital for rent-to-own deals mostly, but also for some other deals as well. When I was 30 years old, my passive income was greater than my expenses. So at that point in time, I quit that high-paying oil job. I used to make about $240,000 a year, and so it takes quite some guts to be able to walk away from that. But I knew that my future was doing something else, and so I left it all to be able to do rent to own full time. A little bit more about who I am and the training I've taken. And where I came from in order to be here and to be a credible authority in the rent-to-own field. Back when I was starting out, I signed up for a little real estate newsletter. It was called The Inner Circle. It was about $50 a month, and in it, people wrote articles, and you could contact any of the writers from it. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was my first little step to getting real, credible advice from people who are actually doing deals. So after I was reading that for a while, inside the Inner Circle, there was Rent to Own course, and it was offered by Dave Dubois, and I took that. Dave doesn't offer it anymore. He sends everyone to me to teach them, but I got my first training from Dave Dubois. Around that time, that's when CAROP was formed. That's the Canadian Association of Rent to Own Professionals. And I also went and took a course on how to raise capital. That course was done by Darren Weeks, who's raised over $500 million of private capital. And I also decided to sign up and take some coaching. And some of the coaching were from guys like Ken Malkeroy, Robert Kiyosaki, Bob Molly. All of these people are people who I spent time with one-on-one directly, had dinners with, and flew out to go see them to learn what it's like to think with a bigger context. It's really this coaching that got me really prepared, because what happened is the market really took a downturn in 2014 in Fort McMurray, where I was doing all my deals. And if it wasn't for that coaching, I don't know if I would have figured out how to turn such a negative of doing this and be able to turn it into an actual positive. But I did. I figured out some new tricks that nobody else was doing. All the other rent-to-own companies were closing their doors because they only knew how to buy in an appreciating market. But I figured out how to do rent-to-own in a declining market. And that's the most exciting times, because I was able to do 93 deals in 1 year. That was during 2016. It was the year of the Fort McMurray fire. And mark my words, if it wasn't for that fire, I would have done my 100 deals. That was my goal for the year. But you know what they say, shoot for the stars, and if you hit the moon, at least you've launched. So I did 93 deals in 2016. It was a major, major breakthrough, and I'm going to share with you guys how I did those. I also I've been hosting cash flow clubs for over 10 years. I've won the most capital raised award. And another thing too is last August in 2017, I was on the cover of Canadian Real Estate Wealth magazine for the Quit Your Day Job article. So very, very credible. I've got lots of experience, and I'm here to be able to help you guys be able to learn how to do it too. I like going on adventures and driving my sports cars around. My dream was always to have a summer sports car and a winter sports car, and so I've achieved that, and I have a lot of fun with those. Those are just some of my hobbies. When it comes to rent to own, Jon definitely knows his stuff. As I've said at many of my events numerous times, I think Jon is one of the best professional real estate investors in Canada. We have joint ventured several times, and Jon is a man of integrity. And that was said by Dave Dubois, the man who I got my rent-to-own training from. Dave's teaching other things right now, so he's sent everyone to me to be able to carry the torch. one of the big things is taking massive action. You'll never get anywhere if you don't actually make a change. So, here's me also doing some talks beside Ken Malcroy at the bottom left. The top right is myself and Paul Blacquier. We've also done a lot of things together. And at the bottom right, that's one of my trade show booths for when I'm promoting my rent-to-own program. And so these are just some of the things that help out when it comes to doing these rent-to-own deals. Lots of trainings that I've done. I've put on numerous workshops. And down there in the bottom picture, that's actually me giving you guys the free, simple rent-to-own training that you have just gone through. The challenge is when I meet most people, and what most people have that they're facing that's holding them back is that most people tell me they have no time, they have no money, they don't know how to start, they want help if they get stuck, and often I hear that it works for others but not for me. That is completely false. Too much competition, false again. There is just far too little companies out there doing good deals. And it won't work in my area. Well, I've proven it wrong. You can do it in an appreciating or declining market. We're going to go into that. Often people are scared to take the first step. With a good system, you can feel confident to move forward. There is a solution. And that's the rent to own, how to create win-win-win outcomes. It's been a bestseller. It was the first course I ever created, and I've polished it up, and I'm always adding new things to it to keep up with the way that the markets change so that you can have the most current rent to own information. So here are 5 steps for massive profits in an appreciating market with rent to own real estate investing. Step number 1, you're going to need to attract rent to own buyers. Step number 2, pre-screen them and get a small bit of money up front. At that point, you can go to step 3, get the property under contract. Step 4, get clients qualified, collect more upfront money, and start enjoying the cash flow. Step 5 is a bigger cash out after a couple years when the property sells. So there are pros to this. You do get better returns. That first deal example where I made $101,000 out of one deal, that was doing it in an appreciating market. The con is that you need to use money to buy the houses. So there is a little bit of a risk, or you have to go out there and be able to learn how to partner with other people in order to do this in an appreciating market. So once again, step number 1, you're going to be attracting clients. Step number 2, you're going to pre-screen them, and you're going to quickly sift and sort through them. Which are the ones that we can work with and which are the ones that we can't. Step number 3 is acquire the property. Help get the client qualified. Work with them for a couple years, whether it's time to build up their down payment or a little bit of help with their credit. We provide them that sort of assistance. That's what makes sure that these deals work out so that you can cash the checks at the very end. Now, here are the 5 steps to making massive profits in a depreciating market. This is something worth taking note. If things aren't booming where you're at, this is how you can do it. You can still do this in an appreciating market. It's just there's a lot more motivated sellers when it's a depreciating market. So step number 1 is we're going to attract the rent-to-own sellers. Step number 2 is we're going to market the property, and then we're going to start screening the clients to see who can actually qualify for it. Step number 3 is going to be getting the paperwork signed. Step number 4, collect some upfront money and enjoy the cash flow. And step number 5, the property sells and there's a bigger cash out at the very end. So there are some pros. You have no money in the deal, no risk. You don't even have friends of yours' money or partners of yours or your parents' money or your sisters or your brothers. You don't need any money at this. The con is it can be a little bit more work because you need to attract the house and the people in order to do this type of sandwich deal. It's what it's called. It's a sandwich rent-to-own deal. And you'll notice that from an appreciating to a depreciating market, the 2 steps are really a little bit different. So in an appreciating market, we're going to find our buyers first. In a depreciating market, we're going to find the sellers first. So once again, for a depreciating market, we're going to be attracting motivated sellers. We're going to market and properly screen clients for it. So we're going to be putting up ads with the specific house that we're looking for a buyer for. We're going to still, once we show it and we find somebody who qualifies and they want it, we're going to still get the same contract signed. We're going to still be doing the same help to be able to get the client qualified while they're building up their down payment, provide them with the necessary credit coaching if they need credit coaching, and make sure that we can see them through all the way to the end where you'll be able to cash the checks. That's right. There's big money when these deals close, and this is money that you can quit your job when you have enough of these going, and you know these paydays are coming in the future. You can feel confident. It's a plan that works. So step number 1, in a little bit more detail, we're going to be attracting clients and motivated sellers. So this works for both appreciating and depreciating. I'll just go into a bit more detail. So you're going to need some powerful lead generation and a website. Online advertising works. Newspaper ads can still work, although I'm not really doing a whole lot of them these days in my business. Business cards and tear tab signs are a great way to generate business. Vehicle signage and video marketing. So here's an example of the pull tabs that I like to use in my business, as well as on the top right corner you'll see that this is one of the magnetic signs. I like to use signs on the left and the right side of the vehicle and on the back. And at the bottom right, that's just an example of one of our online ads that just markets the rent-own program in general, not a specific property. But I always have a little bit of fun with this one. I mean, she's falling into the laundry machine at the laundromat, renting blows, rent to own. A lot of people would really love to have their own laundry facilities in their own place. So I just thought I'd play up on that a little bit. And believe it or not, it works. It generates lots of leads. Here's an example of another deal. This one was done in Red Deer. I should have updated that with a real picture of the property, but this is the drawing because at the time we were going to try and market some of these before they were built as rent to own. So in this deal in Red Deer, we got $5,000 up front. End up making $425 net. That's after all the expenses each month in cash flow. Plus there's another $17,000 payday at the end of the 2 years. My money partners in this deal were paid 15%, and none of them needed to qualify for mortgages for this deal. So at the end of the day, when I'm done paying the money partners, I get to see $22,525 that is actual profit that I get to keep. I had business experience and I just needed a well planned out real estate strategy. Jon outlined a very comprehensive approach to implement a low risk rent to own real estate business strategy. The tenant first / sandwich approach makes great sense and reduces the challenge of finding distressed sellers to make a deal work. And that was by Dale Monette. He was one of my very first students and he definitely took the bull by the horns and ran with it. Dale's been very successful with rent to own. Let's hear what he had to say.
I'm actually a student of Jon Simcoe and his rent-to-own course back in 2015 and have seen tremendous success from taking that. It really allowed my real estate and investing career to take off after that point. Currently, as it stands today, I'm the CEO of a nationwide rent-to-own company called Homeowners Now, using the strategies and expertise that Jon had provided in his course. I'm actually a chartered accountant by trade and have a decent amount of business acumen and knowledge under my belt, but, still found an immense amount of material and education to be useful in Jon Simcoe's course to, get us where we are today. Our company is actually purchasing about 2 properties a month as it currently stands. We're looking to double that output next year. But it wouldn't have been possible without, taking that belief in myself and in Jon's business model to get where we are today. So I highly, hope that you guys also take that, belief in yourselves and in Jon's course and consider taking that to get your real estate career to, hopefully the same levels that myself and Jon have seen in their career as well.
Very kind words from Dale, and so number 2, step 2 with our process is we're going to be screening the clients. This means verifying the income that they have, checking to see their credit fixability. That means making sure that they can have a high enough credit score to get a mortgage at the end of the 2 or 3 years. It also means making sure that they're cooperative and will listen to the credit suggestions to be able to become mortgageable. We basically need to find out why they can't buy now and what obstacles do we need to overcome. Other thing is we need to make sure that they have some cash on hand and that they have realistic expectations for the type of house and property that they're going to be in. Step number 3 is going to be getting the property, and that means paperwork in an up market. There's one of two ways. We'll cover a down market next. So in an up market, you're going to send these pre-screened people out with a realtor, and you're going to tell them to pick 2 or 3 options. From there, you're going to check out the properties that they picked, that they like, and you're going to negotiate with each one of them. And one of those properties, you're going to get it under contract, and you're going to buy it. So step number 3, again, for a down market is just a little bit different order. We're going to confirm that the property meets our pre-screened clients' expectations. Sometimes just by marketing the rent-to-own program, we find people and I can bring them over to a property that I already know the sellers would be willing to sell as a rent-to-own. And so we're going to sign rent-to-own contracts, and we're going to congratulate the owner of the house, and we're going to confirm their move-out date. Make sure that it's going to be empty for our new pre-screened clients to be able to move into and begin the rent-to-own process. So we'll collect a deposit and start receiving monthly cash flows. Here's another success story of one of my students. Absolutely love Brendan. He's an absolute go-getter. His company's name is Ashton Fitcher. He is based in Fort McMurray, and he started rent-to-own in 2016. At the time of when I created this slide, I know he had 7 rent-to-own properties under his belt. He probably has a couple more, and I know that he's done 10 deals in 3 different cities. This is what Brendan had to say. Everyone wins in a sandwich deal. Working with Jon was easy. After I did the marketing system from his course, Jon looked over the tenant buyer's profile. His network is so big that he already knew of a house that would be the perfect fit. I did all the work with the tenant buyer, and we worked out a great deal together. And best of all, used none of our own money or other people's money. And that's what Brendan had to say.
Hey everybody, my name is Brendan. I live in Fort McMurray, Alberta, and I signed up for Jon's rent-to-own course maybe 6 months ago. It was great value for the price. I've more than paid for the price with the real estate deals I've done with him. Right away, maybe in the first month and a half, the course paid for itself. All the legal documents, the coaching, the videos, all that stuff was great advice to get going. He's helped me and been fundamentally crucial in starting r2ocanada.com, and this year alone I've already put together 4 successful rent-to-own deals, all thanks to his help and coaching. So make sure you educate yourself because it's the best way to get ahead, and invest in yourself, and I hope to see you guys out there. Best of luck.
On with step number 4, it's going to be getting the client qualified. This means creating a plan to be able to overcome their obstacles that they're facing when you first screen them. And I like to have regular meetings every 90 days with these people, make sure they're on track, sometimes a little bit more at the start if it means changing some of their habits with their finances. It also means pulling their credit at regular intervals, making sure that they are moving forward towards success. This is probably one of the steps that I see most companies failing with out there, is that they just set up the rent-own deal and they leave it alone for 2-3 years. And then they wonder why it doesn't work out at the end. In this example here, we're actually helping them get qualified, and we'll be enjoying amazing cash flow the whole time. So here's another deal by Brendan and Alex. This was a Fort McMurray, Alberta house. They're a husband and wife team, and they already had their first deal under their belts. So in this one here, they made $5,000 up front. They enjoy $300 a month of positive cash flow, and there's an $8,000 payday at the end of the deal for them. That means that Brendan and Alex will be making over $23,800 in total profit. This is on a house that they never needed to buy and never needed to do any OPM for. It was a total sandwich deal. So step number 5, you're going to be cashing the checks. So you're going to have your upfront money that comes in. You're going to have cash flow. And then at the very end of the deal, there's cash out. The cash out at the end is always the biggest. Another rent-to-own success story, Dale Monette and Tyler Atkins. They were two accountants that teamed up in Calgary. They took my rent-to-own training course and coaching in 2015, and they have 14 plus deals under their belts. I wouldn't be surprised if they have over 20 under their belts, because Dale is really out there. He's completely quit his job, and rent-to-own has become his full-time gig, and I absolutely love having been the guy who taught him that. It's personally rewarding. He does both tenant first and sandwich deals. And he's raised several $1,000,000, and a couple of his deals have been joint ventures with me. So here's another example of a sandwich deal. I have been to this house, but I didn't actually have to go there at all to be able to set it up. It's in Kitimat, BC. There was $5,000 up front, $300 a month cash flow, and $10,000 at the end, for a total profit of $25,800. That's $25,800 in complete profit. I never had to raise any money to be able to do anything with this deal. I had a motivated seller. They knew how rent-to-own worked. I was able to screen some people for it, put them in the house, guide them towards purchase, and be able to make this kind of money. Now, the other people who I partnered with on the house, they made some good money too, and they like doing rent-to-own. The fact that when it comes to rent-to-own deals, Simcoe, I believe you have no peers. After touring your operation, I've seen firsthand that you really talk the talk and most definitely walk the walk. That was by Michael Biggs.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosalie Hughes and I'm here with my partner Mike Bugg. We're students of Jon Simcoe, is based in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and we recently launched our own rent-to-own company called Aspire Homeownership Incorporated.
We've been investing in real estate for 5 years and really wanted to grow our business. What drew us to Jon was his integrity and the level of success he's had with the rent-to-own strategy. Since starting his course in March, we've gained the confidence and the necessary tools to start our own rent-to-own company. I highly recommend Jon's course to anyone considering adding rent-to-own to their portfolio.
Jon's a great teacher. He loves to share his knowledge. He's very approachable and down to earth, and we highly recommend his course.
Another example deal of a Fort McMurray, another sandwich lease deal. We made $5,000 up front. This one was lower in cash flow, but $100 a month is better than nothing. And there was $17,000 at the end. So another total profit, $25,600. No money invested, no investors in it. There is absolutely minimum risk. A little bit of effort to set it up, and you can make this kind of money too. Great information. Thanks, Jon. You have so much knowledge that you love to share. Keep it up. Open my eyes to doing rent-to-own the right way. That's by Tim Alexander, and that is his new wife, Jobina, right next to him. They got married just recently. So congratulations, guys. I know your future will be bright. Here's another sample deal. This was one in Saskatoon. There was $5,000 money up front. There was outstanding monthly cash flow of $450 a month for 2 years, as well as a nice $10,000 payday at the end, for a total profit of $25,800 on this very little house. That's 2 short years on this little house, and you're able to make $25,000 plus. Absolutely phenomenal. So when are you going to get started? When are you going to be doing rent-to-own the right way? You know, you might want to have fancy cars like me. You might just want to have extra money, travel, live life on your own terms. These are the reasons why we do rent-to-owns. And of course, there is the full course where I'm here to support you guys, is Rent-to-Own, How to Create Win-Win-Win Outcomes. It is by far the best-selling course that I've ever created, and it's very, very popular. A lot of people are achieving a lot of success with it. I encourage you to pick it up as well. So Rent-to-Own, creating win-win-win outcomes. Here are some of the benefits. I've done this for a long time, and I've been able to create a lot of shortcuts. So you will be able to have more time and money in your life. It's a very quick and easy process. You can create financial freedom too, and you can have a competitive advantage because you're learning from a pro. Rent-to-Own, creating win-win outcomes is going to soon be your favorite go-to resource for all your rent-to-own education. Discover proven strategies virtually guaranteed to work in today's marketplace. Cash flow is absolutely outstanding. Every single month, money comes in. Know exactly how to structure your rent-to-own deals so that you can yield the highest profits. And there's a real-world value of $19.97. The legal library, forms, contracts, and paperwork that come with the course are going to give you a huge leg up. I have people say they're going to talk to their lawyer after taking the free rent-to-own training. That is an absolute mistake. You need to take the course first, then go talk to your lawyer. You can bring these contracts to him and have him change them however you want. Consult with him, but get the course first so that you're not having your lawyer do the work from scratch. That alone is worth the price of the course. And this is a real world value of $9,997. This is absolutely true. I've spent that much money to get my contracts done up, and I tune them up, and I do update them. Every time I get some changes to the agreements, I put updates in the course so that it is absolutely comprehensive and easy for you. There's also some very simplified templates so that you can focus on closing more deals. You'll also get my financial freedom blueprint. Why reinvent the wheel when you can just model after my success? Utilize the proper tools and strategies that have generated hundreds of thousands of loonies, even millions. Get your own. This is designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be faster and easier than if you were to do it on your own. Feel confident and take action that will forever free you from the shackles of financial burden. Also, you're going to get my stamp of deal approval for it. So I'm going to personally look over your details of your deal, and I'll instantly recommend how you can move forward based on my years of investing in the trenches. Always feel confident knowing exactly how to proceed with any deal on your desk. I'm willing to look at your client, make sure that they're the right person to do the deal with, as well as the property details to make sure that the property fits as well. So you can save thousands of dollars and years of doing it on your own and having to figure it out with a hard learning curve. You'll also get a quick start call, and this is a one-on-one call from me to you so that you can get started right away. I will help you overcome any obstacles that are holding you back from getting started. I'm also going to connect you to anyone in my network in your area that will help get your rent-to-own system working fast. My network is very extensive. I know all kinds of companies and other students and other people and professionals all across Canada, and so I can totally recommend who to work with if you need a little bit of help with that. That's what I'm here for, to help you out with this quick start call. So here's an overview of it. The Rent-to-Own Online Training University, 1997. I'm also going to give you guys a copy of my book, The Rent-to-Own Solution to Home Ownership. There's also the legal library, the forms and the contracts. That will save you $10,000 in lawyer work. You'll get my deal of approval, and that's absolutely priceless. I want to make sure that your first deal is a winner so that you can do more of them and so that rent-to-own is done the right way. And you'll also get your rapid results quick start call. That's $497 value. Total value $12,509. Real world value, I'm taking that down, and it's your risk-free investment of only $1,997. However, I do have some special pricing because you went through the free training of the simple rent-own system. We're going to bring it down to $997. I'll also give you my personal 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Take action now and try the complete system for 90 days. If you aren't overwhelmed at how easy it is to do this system, simply tell me. But I know once you'll try it, you'll see the powerful results. Here's a fast action bonus. So for quickly going and purchasing the course, you're going to be able to get an autographed copy of my Rent-to-Own Solution to Home Ownership book. I'll autograph it personally and dedicate it just to you. There is limited quantities of this. I need to buy copies of these books in bulk and then be able to sign them and send them out to you guys. So I'm limited by the number of books that I have at any given time. But I do have a whole bunch of books right now. I got about 30, so I can send them out for the next group of people, and then I will get some more books afterwards. Just know that there's limited quantities of these books that can be autographed by me and sent to you. Your fast action bonus number 2 is a personal strategy session with me. I'll give you a one-on-one customized plan to be able to go through your exact needs and wants, and I'm going to get you fast track direction on your path towards your success. Secure your first deal in record-breaking time. I really want you, from the time of purchasing the course, to be able to get your first deal so you can get that money back right away and be profiting in no time. You can smile and enjoy the rewards of successful rent-to-own real estate investing done the right way. So here's our total for everything. We go through it. You get the Rent-to-Own Training University, the Legal Library, Financial Freedom Blueprint, my Stamp a Deal approval, Quick Start Guide and Call, autographed copy of my book, personal strategy session with me, all a real-world value of $13,832. There are a lot of other companies that charge a lot of money, and you can pay this much money to learn this skill, but I believe in making it accessible for everyone, and that's why it's a risk-free investment of only $997. So to get your own, head on over to www.jonsimcoe.com, and you'll see there'll be the best-selling How to Create Win-Win-Win Outcomes Between Money Partners and Homeowners in Training. You can get the rent-own training there. Don't wait. Go to www.jonsimcoe.com. Get your copy now. There's videos up there so that you can get started. Our quick start call happens right when you start Module 2. That's the perfect time for us to get on a call. I look forward to meeting you and getting to know your personal goals and coming up with a plan so that you can achieve the financial freedom that you desire. So get your own at www.jonsimcoe.com.